So what's the most valuable skill you have that you can't really prove with a certificate? Is it your resilience, how you work in a team, your ability to adapt on the fly? We've all got these skills, but let's be honest, how do you actually show them to an employer? Well, today, we're going to dive into how Europe is trying to solve that exact problem by making these invisible skills visible. Our guide for this is a project called SkillBridge. It's funded by the European Union, and its entire mission is to, well, build a bridge between the skills people pick up just by living their lives and what the formal job market is looking for. And this really gets to the heart of it, a question a lot of us have probably asked ourselves at some point. How do you get credit for the stuff you've learned through experience, not just from a textbook? This whole challenge has a name, the invisible skills gap. And it's a huge issue in the modern workforce. It's exactly what projects like SkillBridge were created to fix.
I mean, just think about it for a second. The incredible project management skills you get from running a household, the sheer resilience built from moving to a new country, or the teamwork you learn from volunteering. These things are so valuable, but way too often they just stay hidden, totally invisible on a standard resume.
So the very first step to valuing something is to give it a name, right? Let's take a look at the official term for these abilities that are so important for succeeding, not just at work, but in life.
And that term is non-cognitive skills. Okay, it sounds a little academic, I know, but all it really means is that these are different from cognitive skills, like math or reading. You've probably heard them called soft skills. They're all about how you work, not just what you know. You can think of them as the engine that actually drives all our technical know-how.
And this is where it starts to get really concrete. We're not talking about some vague cloud of people skills. As you can see here, they can be neatly organized. You've got personal skills, like your own autonomy and resilience. Then there are relational skills, like empathy and teamwork. And finally, organizational skills, like problem solving. This kind of structure turns a fuzzy idea into a really practical tool.
But here's the thing. Just having a name isn't enough. For this to be useful across an entire continent, you absolutely need a shared system. You need a common language that everyone, everywhere, can understand.
And this is exactly where the ESCO framework comes into play. Think about it. In a place as diverse as Europe, with so many languages and different systems, you need a universal translator for skills. That is ESCO. It stands for European Skills, Competences, Qualifications, and Occupations. And it's this huge multilingual system that connects skills to jobs, no matter what country you're in.
And this framework is incredibly detailed. It's not just a few broad ideas. Get this, ESCO officially defines and describes 96 distinct transversal skills. 96. That gives you a seriously powerful vocabulary to describe what a person can do.
A career counselor named Marco, who actually uses these tools every day, put it perfectly. He called them real interpretation codes. Just think about that phrase for a second. These aren't just lists. They are literally the keys that unlock and translate a person's hidden talents into a language the job market can finally understand.
Okay, so that's the theory. That's the big idea. But let's see how this all comes together in the real world. How does a guidance counselor like Marco actually use this to help someone?
It boils down to this really powerful three-step process. It all starts with narrative analysis, where the person just tells their story, their experiences. Then the counselor acts like a detective in the repository search, using the ESCO database to find official terms that match that story. And finally, there's competence mapping, where they connect the dots, linking real-life events to those formal descriptions to build a real, credible portfolio of skills.
And the result? Well, it can be a total transformation. A CV that maybe looked a bit sparse before is suddenly filled with officially recognized, transferable skills. Something like informal warehouse work becomes documented proof of time management and adaptability. It's a complete game changer. So why is this so important? Because this is so much more than just a bureaucratic exercise. Recognizing these skills has a profound human impact, especially for people who might be on the edges of the job market.
This isn't just about getting a job. It's about restoring dignity and opportunity. It allows employers to see the whole person, their full potential, by valuing every part of their life story. This makes it an incredibly powerful tool for social inclusion, especially for migrants or anyone whose experience doesn't fit into a neat little box, because it shifts the focus to what a person can actually do, not just what they've studied.
When you boil it all down, the projects like SkillBridge and frameworks like ESCO really teach us is this. These skills, they aren't just a nice to have. They're not optional. They are the connective tissue that holds all of our other abilities together. So we'll leave you with a question to chew on. Thinking about your own story, your own experiences, what valuable invisible skill can you now put a name to?